It's Friday. It's a little after 2. That means it's time for the Gazette Radio Hour with Doug and John on AM-1220 KHTS, Santa Clarita's hometown station.
So, Doug,
yeah.
All right, I'm gonna call the matter for a vote. What do you think?
Okay.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carried.
Okay, what?
We just voted ourselves a 10% raise. We got to tell.
Really?
We should tell the station management.
Just like the city council did.
Yeah, I know.
How cool is
we
that?
Just got a raise. High five. That was a radio high five. You probably couldn't even hear it. Look, first of all, isn't that the most awkward thing ever?
Why? Is that a city mandate or something that they vote for their
Well, I think they're the ones that hold the pocket strings or the purse strings or whatever. So I don't have a problem with it. But the one thing nobody brought up until afterwards was how much does our city council get paid versus how much does, a comparable city get paid?
And what I heard, and I don't have anything to back it up, it's comparable size city. They average $32,000 a year.
So they're getting $22,000 a year.
Yeah.
So 10%. What's the big deal?
I don't know.
I mean, other than the fact that they said no in a couple months ago.
Yeah, and I don't like to mention the semi-daily paper on this show, but they had a scathing editorial today on the city council for changing their mind from 2 months ago.
Oh no, they're not allowed to change their mind. Yeah. That's going to keep us stuck
in reality, it was one city councilman, Dante Acosta.
It was Dante Acosta who changed his mind.
He voted no last time, and yes this time.
Probably got really hard over the holidays to be a city councilman because there's a lot of babies to shake and hands to kiss.
That's right.
No, wait a minute. Strike that.
It's the other way.
It's the other way around. Yeah.
No, but you're right. Talk about an awkward situation. Because, let's say if they truly do deserve more money, because I know they take a lot of time. They do a lot of evening stuff, and they have to leave their regular job to go do some, groundbreaking thing.
But did they fix the thing? And I don't know, and I could be opening up a whole can of worms. And I know we have several listeners who would probably call in and correct me. But did they fix the disparity? I mean, the discrepancy in the compensation packages amongst the people?
I do not know that. That came.
Oh, boom, boom, boom.
That's what happened when Tim Ben came aboard, and he brought that up, and it had something to do with the benefits too.
I think it was the benefits. It's the whole compensation package. Everybody should be the same.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, unless maybe you want to throw something else to the mayor, because he's got more expenses, pies at Coco's or whatever.
Well, one thing, John, I'd like to bring up real quick on the front page of this week's Gazette, we had an article about will Santa Clarita ever elect its mayor and have district voting for city council. So I'd urge everybody to pick up a copy of Gazette.
It's a very good read.
And we got interesting quotes from both sides, who's in favor, who's not in favor. And me personally, I want to elect my mayor.
It's coming down the pike.
It's
going to be coming down the pike. It's a little expensive, and it's getting new people in with new ideas, and I think it makes sense at this point in time.
But getting back to what we're talking about, it does put them in a very awkward situation, because if you really do need a raise, and you feel it, but if you vote for your own raise, people get on you.
Yeah.
And
if you vote no, then you don't get the money.
Get the money.
Human nature. You're going to vote yes. All right. We got a lot going on, Doug. There's too much going on. Can we take a break?
Yeah, I need it.
Okay, already? It's because you switched. You switched beers. All right, you're listening to Gazette Radio Hour with Doug and John on AM-1220 KHTS, Santa Clarita's hometown station. We're back after this.
Welcome back, everybody, to your hometown station, AM-1220 KHTS. It's a Gazette Radio Hour with Doug and John. We're on every Friday from 2 to 3. It's the radio digest version of the Santa Clarita Gazette for everything you need to know to be in the know, and it's kind of our favorite time. But anyway,
one of the top
it's
7.
News Director Heather Harbin's with us for Heather's Highlights.
Yes, hello, how are you guys?
She doesn't have highlights, Doug. I don't know what you're talking about.
Lowlights? I mean, I don't know.
No, we're not talking about her hair?
Oh, no, sorry. The news,
I
John,
it was like a
the news.
Tip thing or something. I don't know what you schedule. So, all right, so what's going on in the SCV this week?
Well, this week we had a lot of hard news happen, and a lot of stuff actually happened in court. So let me tell you all about it. So first of all, yesterday, a deputy was involved in a shooting in Canyon Country, and homicide detectives were called out to investigate. It happened at about 7:50 p.m. A deputy with our sheriff's station made a traffic stop near the intersection of Shangri-La Drive and Nathan Hill Drive in the Canyon Country area by the Canyon Country Library.
Yeah.
The vehicle matched the description of an assault with a deadly weapon call that happened just the day before just the day before, right here in Newhall. When the vehicle came to a stop, the suspect got out of his vehicle and proceeded to yell profanities at the deputy while appearing to challenge him to a fight. The deputy told the driver to put his hands in the air multiple times, but the driver just didn't cooperate and didn't listen to him. The deputy continued to give commands to him, but the suspect ignored all of them, turned his body, and aggressively reached behind his back, appearing to retrieve a weapon. And he began to draw the possible weapon on the deputy. And at that point, the shooting occurred. Yeah.
Sounds like a good shooting. I mean, it's one of those things. I don't know about you, Doug, but if a police officer pulls me over, it's yes sir, no sir, keep my hands in clear. I mean, come on.
Yep.
Unless you've got something to hide or something.
If you're going to get out of the car and start yelling profanities and not do what he's telling you to do, and it's dark.
Bare minimum, you're going to get hit really hard upside the head. That's just,
yeah,
it's scary.
The suspect hasn't been identified yet. He's only identified as a male adult. He was struck by gunfire, and he was transported to Henry Mayo Newhall Hospital and was pronounced dead there. Yeah. There was actually a passenger in the car with him, and he's being interviewed by detectives, and officials said a knife was recovered at the scene.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, but the investigation is still ongoing. There's no motive known yet for it, and we'll continue to update with more information as it comes.
You know what really gets me is when people like sheriffs or police get criticized for that sort of thing. When you're in that situation, you can't
make that determination that quick, that fast. Oh yeah, no, he's fine.
Yeah,
no, it's legitimate.
Yeah.
But anyways, in court news, a couple who was recently found in possession of heroin as well as a cat with its paws bound together with electrical tape. Yeah, they pled no contest to drug possession and animal abuse charges. I believe it was last Thursday.
Yeah. They taped the cat's legs together?
Yeah.
You do weird things on heroin, apparently. Mm-hmm. You remember that from right, Doug?
No, I'm not going there.
No. That's one of the weirder stories of the year. That's got to be on the top 10 list of weird stories. A cat with its paws duct taped together. I don't understand the mindset.
No.
Drugs, stay off them.
Yes.
The suspects were 23-year-old Tyler Scott Vest, he was a resident of Valencia, and 26-year-old Kylie Stringer, who is a resident of Canyon Country, and they each face one misdemeanor count of cruelty to an animal. Vest also faces the charge of one felony count of possession for sale of a controlled substance, and also faces the allegation that he was convicted in 2012 with one misdemeanor count of grand theft from a person.
Wow, so there's 2 strikes.
Mm-hmm.
That's getting scary. But, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, you plead no contest to it, and that the reason is that the whole 3-strike thing. But you're still going to get in trouble. Don't be stupid.
Isn't pleading no contest basically pleading guilty for all practical purposes?
Yeah, basically. Except for the fact that it's not a conviction, I think. Like I said, thank goodness I don't do that area of the law. Although our board op is shaking his head vigorously, which scares me. But that's okay. So what else we got?
Yeah, I'm sorry to go back to the to the incident. The woman has different charges. Stringer, she faces one misdemeanor count of possessing a controlled substance, and the 2 are scheduled to appear in court on January 27th to be sentenced.
So we don't know if they're in jail now or they're out roaming the streets.
I think they're probably out.
Yeah,
it's only misdemeanor counts.
I know the woman has been released. I'm not too sure about the man.
Yeah. Well, don't let him have a cat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But and hey, we should call the local, SPCPA or SPCA or whatever they are in PETA and have them down there to protest the hearing. That'd be cool.
Yeah,
okay. Sponsored by Doug and John.
But in good news, that rescue cat, whose name is Lily, said the sheriff's station said she is doing great.
Oh, good,
so
good. See, there's a silver lining.
Yeah.
Wow, there's a way to bring down a room. What else you got, Heather?
Well, also, I have another few stories about in court news. A Placerita Junior High student who was accused of making threats on Facebook in March was found guilty on Tuesday.
Yeah, there's a shock. He did it.
Was he sentenced yet?
He has not been sentenced yet. He was 14 years old. He can't be named because he's a juvenile.
Right.
He was found guilty of one count of criminal threats and is scheduled to be sentenced on January 27th as well. He was detained and taken into custody on March 20th last year after he threatened to bring guns on Facebook. Bring guns to the school on Facebook. Yeah. Authorities didn't say there was any attempt to carry out any type of assault, and no one was hurt in the incident.
Do you think maybe it's like just beginning of the year we're weeding out all the stupid people?
No, I think there's going to be more.
Really?
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping it was like a Darwin thing. I think that's the problem. Somebody was telling me this the other day. It's like all these stupid people are getting away with stuff because we're looking out for them. we shouldn't put warning labels on things anymore.
Yeah.
If you're stupid enough to spill your hot coffee on yourself and go into some sort of shock and pass away, you'll learn.
Well, what about
coffee's hot?
What about never going into a building or a restaurant where it has those signs saying that something in here, chemical in this building causes cancer?
Don't go in.
You'd never be able to go in anywhere.
Yeah, take them out. If you get cancer, oh well.
Yeah. Well, in other news, a judge dismissed a lawsuit against Alcoholics Anonymous last Tuesday for their alleged role in the death of Santa Clarita resident Carla Brada. The lawsuit was filed by her parents, who contend that she was murdered by her boyfriend, Eric Earl, because Alcoholics Anonymous concealed his violent history. He was convicted and sentenced to 26 years to life in October of 2014 for suffocating the Brada at the condo the couple shared in Saugus. The incident actually occurred in September of 2011.
So I wonder if that's an interesting case, because if you think about it, I know like there's privileges, like your wife can't testify against you,
right?
Okay, or your doctor or your priest or things like that. But I wonder, I guess that privilege doesn't extend to Alcoholics Anonymous meetings. Wow, interesting legal stuff. Yes. All right, taking that hat off because I don't want to talk about law anymore. Is there anything else going on that's like?
Yeah, there was. Deputies are actually searching for the public's help in locating a beloved possession by someone. The Santa Clarita Valley Sheriff's officials are asking for help locating a special belonging of a couple in Newhall who were the victims of a residential burglary on December 29th. One of the items taken from their home was the husband's military jacket. The jacket is a dark brown leather bomber jacket with colorful patches on the front, back, and arms representing his time served.
People.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. The official said that he had the jacket for 21 years and would like nothing more to get it back.
Yes.
So
that's horrible.
Yeah. If any of you have any information, please contact Detective Dow at 661-799-5137. And you can actually go to hometownstation.com to see a photo of the jacket.
Wow. And you can read about all this wonderful cheery news on hometownstation.com
yes,
too?
You can.
Okay. Is there anything else like uplifting? There's got to be something. Like somebody won the Powerball.
John, she warned us. It was a heavy week.
I know. Yeah. Somebody won the Powerball.
Unfortunately, we're not billionaires here at KHTS.
Would you have come to work if you would have won?
Yes, I would have.
Oh, yeah.
Would you give in your 2-week notice?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Would you? Look at that. Would you have given your 2 favorite radio hosts a cut? That's an important question.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
all right. Heather Harbin, the news director at KHTS.
Thank you very
Heather's
much.
Highlights. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Heather. All right. So, Doug, did you watch some of the debate last night?
Yes, I did.
All right. So you saw everybody kept throwing around these words yesterday.
Common cause?
Common core.
Oh, common core. Okay.
Common core. Aside from Hillary Rodham Clinton, the other C word. The Common Core, and what stumped me was, what is Common Core, and why are like Jeb Bush getting berated and Christie getting berated because of this whole Common Core thing? So we figured we'd go to our educational experts.
Why is she laughing?
And they laugh. Wow, that makes us feel really good. We have Julie Olson's on the phone. Julie, is Trey there too?
She is, yeah. Yes,
okay.
hi.
We have Trey Baldwin.
Julie and Trey.
Now they are important people in education. How's that? We'll go into titles later, but can you quickly, one of you guys, and you can arm wrestle to see who's going to do this, explain to us what exactly is Common Core and why we should care?
Okay. So this is Julie Olson, by the way. So thanks, guys, for having us on. Common Core is what it's referring to is a set of standards, academic standards. And standards is something that we've actually had all along, but the Common Core, the name, refers to a new set of standards that replaces the old standards. And what those standards are is it basically defines what it is that a student should learn by the time they complete each grade level. So it's merely objectives or goals, so to speak, for students to make sure that they're on track at each grade level as they progress through their educational career.
So that makes sense. Now, does it change the way that you teach too?
That's what I was going to ask. The method.
Yes.
Also, one of the results, I guess, that they wanted to achieve from developing these Common Core standards were so that the students who are leaving 12th grade, entering college, thus have the skill sets that match the workforce skill sets of the 21st century. Mm-hmm. So that would be critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, anything along those types of skill sets that basically are a little bit more evolved from the memorization that was of the old ways of teaching, the traditional method.
Okay, but wait a minute. Being someone who's grown up with this whole memorization thing, I don't have a problem. And going to law school, and I tell people the reason I did so well in law school and not so well in college is I was a horrible student. I could tell you, I could give you the answer without really giving you the answer.
Right.
And people call that. Well, I'll get two initials. We won't really say them on the air.
B and an S?
B and an S, yes.
Okay.
I could tell you why, but I wouldn't necessarily tell you what 2 + 2 equals. But I can tell you what in the general area it should be. And that seems to be what Common Core is all about.
Yes, right, yeah.
Ladies, let me ask you this. The teachers have to teach the exact same way as other teachers, almost down to like a script? Am I understanding that correctly?
So no, what's interesting is, so Common Core are the standards, right? And that's what's been adopted by our state as well as numerous others. But the standards do not dictate how students should be taught. What they do say, though, is they lay out a framework and a series of best practices that they recommend that districts and schools follow at their discretion to engage in a variety of teaching methodologies that really cause students to engage in the material in a way where they're taken deeper into the material to enhance their comprehension, to get them to be thinking critically and creatively about the content. So instead of going a mile wide and an inch deep, we're going an inch wide and a mile deep. So the intent is to really have students do a lot more collaboration and problem solving, giving them an opportunity to really try and solve problems on their own. One important element of Common Core is to get kids to persist through the problem solving process rather than be given the answers and told exactly how to find a solution. They may, for example, be told through the use of investigative teaching methods, they may be told, here's a problem, now I'd like to have you come up with 3 ways to solve it. And see what they come up with. So it's sort of like the scientific method, a little bit of trial and error, because we learn the most from the mistakes that we make as we are trying to work.
But we don't memorize the multiplication table anymore.
We do, actually. We still do that, but the idea is that they're being, in addition to memorizing those math facts, they're also being encouraged to understand how they are those facts, so that they can explain how to get there.
It's really about mastery content of each subject. In each subject. Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this. Is it the same for every student across the country, the curriculum?
No, and Common Core standards are not curriculum. So we have standards, which is the goal, which is, by the end of the 2nd grade, for example, my son should be expected to be able to tell me, certain things about each subject that he has learned and how those things are important and applicable to that content.
Wasn't it only math and English? Or math and language arts, or whatever they call it now?
English language arts,
and science.
And
science.
Oh, there is science too? Okay.
Coming online with the next generation science standards now as well. But the curriculum is the material, right? It's the material, the books, the supplemental materials that are used to support that learning process. And then there's the methodology, which is how the teachers engage the students to go forward and learn that curriculum and achieve those standards.
Right. And curriculum set by each district or independent school.
Oh, okay. Right. So there is a little bit, because one of the big things we always hear is, this is just going to standardize education throughout the entire country, and another bureaucracy, and get the government out of where our kids are being taught, and blah 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 blah. But that doesn't seem to be the case.
You still will find some public school districts are a little bit more rigorous than other school districts. You will find schools within those districts be more rigorous than another, as well as private schools. There are some that are known strictly for their rigor, and then others that are known more for a progressive, creative approach.
Okay. Because one thing, the other one I always hear is it's a lot of emphasis on testing, standardized testing.
Well, a lot of that emphasis came from the federal law "No Child Left Behind," which was recently replaced with the new law, which lessens the emphasis on testing and also provides more control to states to establish what their testing, what's the way they're going to use the testing that they implement in their schools. So that's good news. That's a step in the right direction.
Right.
So that high stakes previously, our schools were held to a federal standard in order to achieve certain funding, and they had to demonstrate what we call adequate yearly progress year over year, which was really especially difficult for high-performing school districts because, when you're already at that top quadrant, how are you going to, achieve a significant increase in scores?
Right.
And that actually is a good segue into, what we've noticed has happened in some of our own high-performing schools and districts here in our valley, which is, situations like that have caused them to have to take some actions to improve scores in ways in short-term order.
Yeah. Teaching the test.
Putting a Band-Aid on it as opposed to how can we, in the long run, help our students achieve the mastery content that they're going to need to build upon, so each grade is a foundation for the next.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, how is Saugus Union, for example, doing in implementation and supporting the teachers trying to implement this stuff?
Well, so, Common Core implementation is a very lengthy process. The state adopted the standards in 2010, and then they had to put together a commission and study, and they had to do all sorts of things looking at, how they're going to evaluate and approve sets of curriculum that districts could select from and all of that. So a lengthy multi-year process, but where we are today in 2016, is that we have a fantastic district here, and the implementation of Common Core. There's a little bit of we've got fantastic educators and we've got leaders who are dedicated and committed to the best outcomes. But something that Trey and I, as parents and also as education learning professionals in our own day-to-day job, concern that we have is that the way that the approach is being taken to the situation with the district having been in what they call program improvement. So having not met that year-over-year goal that the No Child Left Behind law had set for us, the district decided that they made a selection on how to address that. So they implemented what we refer to as an instructional mandate, where they have a rule that teachers may not use they may only use one teaching method at the exclusion of others when introducing new lessons. And the concern that Trey and I have, based on our understanding of what Common Core is intending to achieve, is that, by limiting our teachers and our students to engage in just that one way.
That one way, right.
Right.
Then it goes against the whole purpose of what Common Core was meant to be.
Which is multiple ways, the teachers bringing different things to different people different ways.
Yeah,
and letting them learn themselves as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And putting the basically the learning back in the hands of the teachers and the students for them to judge, decide. A quote I have here from the National Education Association, it was regarding why they believe Common Core can be successful, was, quote, "The Common Core allows educators to take ownership of the curriculum. It puts back into the hands of teachers who know what information is best for students and how best to deliver that information," end quote. So I differs from what the Saugus district has mandated is that they're saying there's one teaching method allowed, and it is direct instruction.
Right. So if people are interested in getting involved in this, when's the next meeting, and how do they do this? How do they get involved?
Great question. So we have our board meetings it's basically every other Tuesday night, but the next one is this coming Tuesday on the 19th. And the board is going to be considering a board policy change that's been put forward by the superintendent, where they are proposing eliminating what we call a flexibility clause in the board policy. This clause currently states that staff shall have the flexibility to choose the instructional methods that their students need based on the makeup of their class at that time. And they're proposing eliminating this in order to make the policy consistent with this instructional mandate that they have. Our belief, Trey and myself, if you don't mind me saying, Trey, is that that's not the direction that we need to be going. The policy as it's written today is actually sound policy, and it's progressive. In fact, it's even more progressive than what the California School Board Association template currently offers.
So we should back off.
Right. So we're concerned about that. We think the focus should be eliminating the actual unwritten mandate that we know exists, and allow our teachers to choose from a variety of research-based teaching methodologies that many of our neighboring school districts and throughout the state and the country are able to follow.
Well, thanks, ladies. Thanks so much. Will you guys come back on and talk about what happened at the meeting?
Absolutely.
I love this stuff, because the way I learned, I'll have to tell you my story sometime, because the way I learned and what I learned and the way we went through it, it was all kind of experimental at the time, and it served me well throughout. So, Julie Elson and Trey Conway, thanks so much for coming on, ladies.
For having us.
All right. You're listening to Gazette Radio Hour with Doug and John on AM-1220 KHTS, Santa Clarita's hometown station. We're back after this.